of the following sounds were created with this, even the keyboards. Today I'll show you how to transform your guitar into a complete 80s production studio using just one pedal. Howdy everybody, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new to my channel then it's so awesome to have you join us today. So a good few weeks back my friends over at Eventide sent me the outrageously cool H90 pedal to have a play with and create some really awesome guitar noises, and boy, this took me in directions that I couldn't even dream of. Look, I'm a kid of the 1980s, so that whole era of guitar and music is very, very dear to my heart. The 80s was a time of big bands, huge hair and enormous guitar tones. And the big daddy of effects process when I started learning guitar was the Eventide H3000 Ultra Harmonizer. It was in the rack of the guitar gods. Think Steve Vai, Steve Lukather, Eddie Van Halen, and even Police guitarist Andy Summers raved about the H3000. At that time it was the absolute pinnacle of effects units, and having one was not just a journey into sonic heaven, it was also huge kudos. As well as having amazing reverbs and delays, it also had the classic MicroPitch delay feature that became the staple of Eddie Van Halen's rhythm guitar tones. But it went much further in being able to create diatonic harmonies, and there is nobody better to show this off than Steve Vai. I mean, just listen to Ballerina on Passion and Warfare. It's crazy, that tapped delay harmony, all H3000S. Fast forward to now, and the H90 incorporates all of that goodness into a package, well, that fits onto my pedalboard. Crazy! I find that totally amazing. Technology has shrunk. That's progress, right? And indeed, the evolution of that computer power is all in the H90 as well. It is a powerhouse of not just delays, reverbs and harmonizers, but it is also an incredibly good synth engine that allows you to create synth sounds for your guitar. Yeah. So when I set out on this mission, my aim was to create incredible synth sounds and textures to go with my guitars. I already knew that the H90 would absolutely kill it with the delays and reverbs. There was no questions. But the exciting part for me was diving into tones that made my guitar sound like other instruments. That's pretty special. And so I ended up using an organ sound, creating a synth string part, and using step filters and ping pong delay to create some really ambient effects as well. To keep things authentically 80s today, I played my guitar parts through my 88 MP1 preamp and BBE 422A Sonic Maximizer. This literally is the dream 80s rig. I even have it plugged into a Yamaha SPX 990 and a Lexicon MPX 200, both in bypass mode by the way, then into the H90, which handled all of the effects which were actually printed straight onto the tracks on my Logic session. And today I'm going to show you how I created some of these patches. So let's head over to my Mac and the H90 editor, and I will walk you through some of these tones so that you can experiment with them yourself as well. I absolutely adore that. It was one of the first sounds that I decided to use on this. This is cool. My guitar sounds like a rock organ. This was my Deep Purple John Lord moment. So how did I come up with this? Well, initially the first thing I did when I turned on H90 was to go through the presets. And if we have a look at the H90 presets, number 6 is called Jazzy BZ, and when I selected that, had that vibe to it. So what I did was I basically put it into my user bank and I came up with this sound. Which is super cool. So I have two effects going on here. I have the polyphony effect on the Polyoctave preset, and I changed some of the parameters here just to tweak the tone so that it was a little bit sharper, so it was a little bit more present. And then I have the rotary. The rotary is what makes this the rock organ, and this is on the Jazzy Rotary preset. The things that I changed here were the rotary speed to 2 Hz and the horn speed to 4 Hz. I wanted both of them to be in sync with each other, so I basically set the rotary speed half the rate of the horn speed, and it gave me that really cool vibe. Now if I turn the rotary off, this is what happens. You can really hear the octaving effect that the Polyoctave has on the signal. As soon as I add the rotary back in, it turns into an organ again. That's pretty damn cool. Now this works great with chords like I've just been playing, and also single notes. It tracks really well with single notes as well. So now you can play all your organ parts on your guitar. How cool is that? Let's have a listen to this isolated and then in the mix as well. That organ sound is so great, isn't it? So as soon as I laid that down, I knew I wanted some synth strings underneath the organ part. And I knew that the H90 could do synth strings, so I rustled up a really cool patch. Check this out. Absolutely beautiful. I love that I can do that on my guitar because naturally I'm a guitar player and I can play keyboards a little bit but not too well. I can play guitar much better, and being able to create tracks like that is just amazing because it feels so natural for me to just play my guitar and the chords that I know. So let's take a look at H90 Edit and see what I've got going on. The two effects that I have going on this time are the polysynth on the stock polysynth preset, and then the mod echo verb on the mod echo verb preset. Now the mod echo verb is basically what it says on the tin. It's a modulation, an echo and a reverb all in one. And this one actually has a little bit of flanger in there, which is a really cool effect, and it gives it that kind of wavy quality to the synth sound and the string sound. So you can play around with all of these parameters, and this is a really cool thing to do within H90 Edit. The polysynth is great because it has 3 different voices on it. You can play around with the pitch shifting and the style of wave that you have in order to create your own personalized version of synth strings, but played on guitar, of course. Yeah. Let's check this out, isolated and then in the mix as well. It added a really cool texture and layer. And when I recorded this track, I actually used it in various places because I wanted it to be quite prominent. It was such a great sound. and I'm glad I did that throughout the track. Let's check it out in the mix. Now, of course, this video was about me playing guitar. So I had to create some really cool guitar textures with the H90 as well. One of the things I wanted to do was actually use a shimmer verb, but on my rhythm track to create some space. And this is the preset that I came up with. And I think it sounds really, really cool. You don't hear it throughout much of the track because obviously the guitars are playing. But when I stop, there's that trail which just carries on, and you can hear it right at the end of the track. You'll hear that shimmer going on the left-hand channel rhythm. Alrighty, on this one I have the tape echo just set to the tape echo preset and the shimmer verb set to the shimmer preset. Easy peasy, right? You can play around with which preset on the shimmer verb you would like on your track. There are some really cool ones. So if I go over to, let's say, Size Matters, it's going to sound different. Whoa! That's a lot of reverb. That's a little bit too much size for my rhythm guitars. It's still going on. Or let's check out Ironworks. That's an interesting one. But I think the shimmer works really, really well for my rhythm guitars. Alrighty, let's check it out in the mix. If you're enjoying this video, do me a quick favor and hit that subscribe button and the bell notification so that you can be the first to see new videos like this when they come out. Thanks so much. All right, let's get back to some more guitar sounds. One of the things that I was determined to do was use the harmonizer part of this unit. Look, back in the day, the Eventide H3000 was famous for its harmony parts that it could create, and diatomically as well. And the tracking is really good on this. You just heard I just played a single guitar line, but hey, there were two other guitars playing, right? Which was pretty fantastic. Let's check out what I did. Of course, for this one, I used the diatonic effect. So on the left hand channel it's a third down, and on the right hand channel it's a sixth up. And then what I did was I changed the key to B minor, because that was the key that I was playing in. This whole track is in B minor, so if I play in B minor it's going to be in tune. Which is super, super cool. Now if I play in a different key, let's say A minor, it's not going to sound quite right because I've set it to B minor key. So it's looking for the notes in the B minor scale. So if I play a little bit. Sounds kind of funky, right? So when you set this up, you need to make sure that you set it up for the key that you are playing in. So if you're playing in A minor, then make sure that you change the key here to A minor. If you're playing in E minor, then find the E minor. If you're playing in a major scale, then you can do that as well, and all the modes are in here as well if you're going to play in a mode. And it's got some really interesting ones like the Hungarian and the Neapolitan, etc, etc. So you can have a play around with that. It's just really cool to experiment with this. On the other side, I've got the filter pong delay with the filter pong preset, and it just sounded great like that. I wanted to use this a little bit more in the track, but I think it would have been overkill. I think just that one solo with the harmonized guitar, me just playing a single guitar and the H90 doing everything else, was just right. It's absolutely amazing what this thing can do. Whenever I get a new piece of digital gear, I always go through the presets just to see what it has programmed into it. Whilst going through the presets on this one, I came across this one. It's called 80s Villain. And as soon as I played it, I knew I had to include it somewhere in the track. Check out how it sounds. How incredibly cool is that? Like I said, as soon as I played that, I knew I had to include it somewhere in the track. It's just a great preset. It is preset number 48 on the stock H90, and you can find it on your H90 as well. It is a hot sauce on the Picante Pluck, and also a Harmodulator on the light side, dark side. It just works so great. As soon as I played this, I started sliding for some reason, and it just slid with me, and it sounded like a synth which was actually slip sliding into the notes. Sounded absolutely fantastic, and it gave a really great vibe. It worked perfectly for that quiet section that I played right after the main solo. Check out how it lies just under the surface, but it adds so much character to this part of the track. Before the track ended, I was determined to use one more special effect, and this is one I put together. I really like this because it's a step delay, but it's an octaved step delay. So I play my fundamental note, so I'm playing the B here. Then you get two more Bs, one octave up, and the second one is 2 octaves up. I love how that happens. Let's take a look at H90 Edit to see what I did here. So first I went into the diatonic effect, and what I did was I pitched up the first delay up an octave and the second delay up 2 octaves. Then for the delays I did the first one as a quarter note and the second one as a half note. So what I wanted was that dan dan dan, that kind of rhythmic thing. And then I synchronized it to the tempo of the track that I was recording so that it would all match up. And it sounded really great. It just has that vibe to it. And then I played the solo over it, which was a little bit of like Jeff Beck type of thing. This really inspired that solo because it was so ambient and cool. I just love it. Really cool and creative. This took me in directions I did not expect it to, and that was the cool thing about it. And I always love that because that means I'm evolving as a musician. I'm kind of discovering new things. And there's a whole lot of new stuff to discover on this. I'm sure I'm going to be using this a lot to create these ambient textures for the songs that I record now. It's such a cool unit. This was so inspiring to do. To think that I now have synth string sounds that I can lay down using my guitar is just incredible. And those organ sounds, that was my John Lord moment right there. Being able to create some really interesting step harmonies in that middle section and adding that slide synth guitar part was a hair-raising moment in the best possible way. It really gave me a sense that I was creating textures rather than just guitar noises. It provided atmosphere and a feeling and emotions, and it took me right back to the soundtracks of the 80s that actually made me want to pick up guitar and be a musician in the first place. Just incredible. I loved playing with the harmonizer part of the H90. This literally is a H3000S in a tiny little box. It's amazing. And of course, it handles regular delays, reverbs, and modulation effects for guitars like an absolute superhero. The sounds are stunning. This is going on my pedal board so that I can use it live. I would love to know what your favorite sounds were today and which of these sounds could you see yourself using in your own music. So leave a comment and let's start a conversation. If you'd like to play around with these sounds yourself, I've got something special for you. You can download my synth string patch completely free from the link in the description box below. And if you want the entire collection of patches I created for this video, I've put together a complete H90 preset pack which is available on my web store. Check out the links below to transform your guitar with these 80s inspired sounds. A huge thanks to the very clever folks over at Eventide who create these amazing sounding machines. Head over to the Eventide website to check them out and pick one up for yourself to write some really cool music today. Alrighty folks, if you enjoyed this one, which I know you did, yeah, you know what to do. Subscribe, like and share it with your 80s loving friends too. Time for the full track. This transported me back to the soundtracks that inspired me to play guitar in the first place. Top Gun, Miami Vice, there's even a hint of the TV show CSI in there. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Enjoy listening and I hope this inspires you to make some incredible music too. Have an awesome day and I will see you really soon with another one. Bye for now.